Welcome, friend. I'm so glad you're here. Come in, settle down, and make yourself comfortable. Let your head rest heavy on the pillow. Let your shoulders soften. Let your hands lie still. There is nothing you need to do now, nothing to remember, nothing to solve. The day is over, and it is allowed to be over. Tonight we return to the riverbank, to the slow green water and the whispering reeds, for the second chapter of our story, The Wind in the Willows, a chapter called The Open Road. Take a slow breath in and let it go. Good. And another, slower still. There is no hurry here. There is never any hurry here. It was a bright summer morning on the river, one of those mornings that seemed to have been polished overnight. The water lay smooth and unhurried between its banks, carrying little flecks of sunlight along with it, the way a slow current carries leaves. The air smelled of warm grass and cool water, and somewhere upstream a wood pigeon was murmuring its soft, repeating song over and over, like a lullaby it had known forever. The water rat was sitting on the riverbank in the sunshine, humming to himself. He had spent the early hours swimming lazily in the river with his friends the ducks, drifting along beside them, watching them tip forward and dabble in the green shadows below, tails up, heads down, busy and content in the cool underwater world. And afterwards, damp and happy, he had climbed out onto the warm bank and sat in the sun and made up a little song about them, a soft, dabbling sort of song. The kind of song that doesn't need to go anywhere. The kind that just drifts along the backwater, through the rushes tall, ducks a-dabbling, uptails all. The mole sat beside him, listening. The sun was warm on his fur, the grass was soft beneath him, and the river went by, and went by, and went by. "Ratty," said the mole at last in a comfortable, unhurried voice, "if you please, I want to ask you a favor." The rat hummed the last of his song and let it settle. "Ask away, old fellow," he said gently. "Won't you take me to call on Mr. Toad?" said the mole. "I've heard so much about him, and I do so want to make his acquaintance." "Why, certainly," said the good-natured rat. "It's never the wrong time to call on Toad. Early or late, he's always the same fellow, always good-tempered, always glad to see you, always sorry when you go." "He must be a very nice animal," observed the mole, as they got the boat out, and he took his place at the sculls, while the rat settled himself comfortably in the stern, leaning back against a cushion with his eyes half closed. "He is indeed the best of animals," replied the rat drowsily. "So simple, so good-natured, so affectionate. Perhaps he's not very clever. We can't all be geniuses. And perhaps he is a little boastful now and then. But he has some great qualities, has Toady." And so they set off up the river. The oars dipped and rose and dipped again, each stroke leaving two small whirlpools that spun slowly for a moment and smoothed themselves away. The banks slid past at their own pace, willow after willow, reed bed after reed bed. A dragonfly hovered beside them for a while, a little sliver of blue light, and then thought better of it and drifted away over the water. Rounding a bend in the river, they came in sight of a handsome, dignified old house of mellowed red brick, with smooth lawns reaching all the way down to the water's edge. The bricks were the color of late afternoon, though it was still morning, warm and old and quiet, and the windows caught the sun softly, one after another, as the boat glided by. "There's Toad Hall," said the rat. "That creek on the left leads to the boathouse. We'll leave the boat there. Toad is rather rich, you know, and this is really one of the nicest houses in these parts, though we never admit as much to Toad." They glided up the creek into cool green shade, and the mole shipped his sculls as they passed under the roof of a large boathouse. It was dim in there and peaceful. Handsome boats hung from the beams above them or rested on the slips, but none were in the water, and the whole place had a drowsy, sleepy, unused air, dust drifting slowly through thin blades of light. The rat looked around him and smiled. "I see," he said softly. "Boating is played out. He's tired of it. I wonder what new fad he has taken up now. Come along and let's look him up. We shall hear all about it soon enough." They stepped ashore and strolled across the flower-decked lawns in search of Toad. The garden was full of the low hum of bees moving from bloom to bloom, in no particular hurry. The gravel was warm underfoot, and presently they came upon Toad himself, resting in a wicker garden chair beneath a tree, with a faraway look on his face and a large map spread out across his knees. "Hooray!" he cried, jumping up when he saw them. "This is splendid!" He shook the paws of both of them warmly. "How kind of you. I was just going to send a boat down the river for you, Ratty. I want you badly. Both of you. Come inside and have something. You don't know how lucky it is you're turning up just now." "Let's sit quiet a bit, Toady," said the rat, easing himself into a chair, while the mole took another beside him and said something polite about Toad's delightful residence. "Finest house on the whole river," said Toad happily. "Or anywhere else for that matter," he could not help adding, and then he laughed at himself because it was only his way and everyone knew it. "Now look here, you fellows. You are the very animals I wanted. You've got to come and see something. It's most important." And he led them, at a gentle amble, round to the stable yard, where, drawn out of the coach house into the open, there stood a gypsy caravan, shining with newness, painted a canary yellow, picked out with green, with bright red wheels. "There you are," cried the Toad, standing back so they could admire it. "There's real life for you, embodied in that little cart, the open road, the dusty highway, the heath, the common, the hedgerows, the rolling downs, camps, villages, towns. Here today and off to somewhere else tomorrow. The whole world before you and a horizon that's always changing. Come inside and look at the arrangements. Planned them all myself, I did." The mole was tremendously interested and followed him eagerly up the little steps and into the caravan. The rat only snorted softly and stayed where he was, with his hands deep in his pockets. But inside, oh, inside it was very compact and comfortable indeed. Little sleeping bunks made up neat and snug, a little table that folded up against the wall, a small cooking stove and lockers and bookshelves, a bird cage with a bird in it, dozing on its perch, and pots and pans and jugs and kettles of every size and variety, each hanging in its own place, swaying ever so slightly whenever anyone moved. "All complete," said the Toad, pulling open a locker with quiet triumph. "You see, biscuits, potted lobster, sardines, everything you can possibly want. Soda water here, letter paper, bacon, jam, cards and dominoes. You'll find that nothing whatever has been forgotten when we make our start this afternoon." "I beg your pardon," said the rat slowly, chewing on a straw. "But did I overhear you say something about and this afternoon?" "Now, you dear good old Ratty," said Toad imploringly, "you know you've got to come. I can't possibly manage without you. You surely don't mean to stick to your dull old river all your life. I want to show you the world." "I don't care," said the rat, comfortably and firmly. "I'm not coming, and that's flat. I am going to stick to my old river and live in a hole and boat as I've always done. And what's more, Mole's going to stick to me. Aren't you, Mole?" "Of course I am," said the mole loyally. "I'll always stick to you, Rat. All the same," he added wistfully, It sounds as if it might have been, well, rather fun, you know. Poor Mole. The life adventurous was so new a thing to him and so tempting, and he had fallen quite in love at first sight with the little canary-colored cart and all its snug fitments, the bunks, the folding table, the small swaying kettles. The rat saw what was passing in his friend's mind, and he wavered. He hated disappointing people, and he was fond of the mole and would do almost anything to oblige him. "Come along in and have some lunch," said Toad diplomatically, "and we'll talk it over. We needn't decide anything in a hurry." And during luncheon, which was excellent, of course, as everything at Toad Hall always was, Toad simply let himself go. He painted the prospects of the trip and the joys of the open life and the roadside in such glowing colors. Long white roads under summer skies, suppers on the grass, waking to bird song in a new place every morning, that the mole could hardly sit still in his chair for happiness. And somehow gently, it soon seemed taken for granted by all three of them that the trip was a settled thing. The rat, though not quite convinced in his mind, allowed his good nature to override his objections. He could not bear to disappoint his two friends, who were already deep in plans and anticipations. So that afternoon, they went out to the paddock together, walking slowly through the long grass, and fetched the old gray horse, who frankly preferred the paddock and took a good deal of gentle persuading. Meanwhile, Toad packed the lockers tighter still and hung nose bags and nets of onions and bundles of hay and baskets from the bottom of the cart. And at last the horse was harnessed, and they set off, all talking at once, each animal either walking slowly by the side of the cart or sitting up on the shaft as the mood took him. It was a golden afternoon. The smell of the warm dust they kicked up was rich and satisfying. Out of thick orchards on either side of the road, birds called and whistled to them cheerily. Good-natured wayfarers passing them gave them "good day" or stopped to say nice things about their beautiful cart. And rabbits, sitting at their front doors in the hedgerows, held up their forepaws and murmured, "Oh my, oh my, oh my." The cart rolled on at a walking pace, its red wheels turning slowly, slowly. The road unwound before them, soft with dust, between hedges heavy with summer, and the afternoon light grew longer and warmer and more golden, as afternoons do when nobody is watching the clock. Late in the evening, tired and happy and miles from home, they drew up on a remote common, far from any houses. They turned the horse loose to graze, and he wandered off contentedly, tearing up soft mouthfuls of grass in the dusk. And the three friends ate their simple supper sitting on the grass by the side of the cart. Bread and cheese, and a little of the jam Toad was so proud of, while the sky slowly let go of its colors. First the gold, then the rose, then the last pale green along the horizon. Toad talked big about all he was going to do in the days to come, but his voice grew slower and softer as the stars grew fuller and larger all around them. And a yellow moon, appearing suddenly and silently from nowhere in particular, rose over the edge of the common and came to keep them company and listen to their talk. The grass was cool now. The night air smelled of earth and clover. A little wind moved across the common, touched the tops of the grasses, and lay down again. At last, the three of them climbed into the cart and turned into their little bunks. And Toad, half asleep already, kicked out his legs and murmured, "Well, good night, you fellows. This is the real life for a gentleman. Talk about your old river." "I don't talk about my river," replied the patient rat in a low voice. "You know I don't, Toad. But I think about it," he added quietly. "I think about it all the time." The mole reached out from under his blanket, felt for the rat's paw in the darkness, and gave it a squeeze. "I'll do whatever you like, Ratty," he whispered. "Shall we run away tomorrow morning? Quite early, very early, and go back to our dear old hole on the river?" "No, no, we'll see it out," the rat whispered back. "Thanks awfully, but I ought to stick by Toad till this trip is ended. It wouldn't be safe for him to be left to himself. It won't take very long. His fads never do. Good night, Mole." "Good night, Ratty," and the cart grew quiet. The moon climbed a little higher. The old gray horse dozed where he stood, one hip slack, his long head drooping. Inside, 3 small breaths rose and fell, and the common lay still all around them, mile after mile of moonlit grass, and nothing moved but the slow silver clouds. Toad slept very soundly that night, so soundly, in fact, that no amount of shaking could rouse him next morning. So the mole and the rat turned to, quietly and cheerfully. The rat saw to the horse and lit a small fire and cleaned last night's cups and platters and got things ready for breakfast, while the mole trudged off down a long, dewy lane to the nearest village for milk and eggs and the various necessary Toad had, of course, forgotten to provide. And by the time Toad appeared, fresh and rested, remarking what a pleasant, easy life this was, the hard work had all been done, and the 2 animals were resting in the morning sun. They had a pleasant ramble that day, over grassy downs and along narrow by-lanes. The cart creaked its slow, friendly creak. Bees droned in the clover, and white clouds sailed above them like ships going nowhere in particular. They camped that night, as before, on a common, though this time the 2 guests took care that Toad did his fair share of the work. And so, when the next morning came, Toad was rather less rapturous about the simple life and tried very hard to stay in his bunk, and had to be gently persuaded out of it. Their way lay, as before, across country by narrow lanes, and it was not until the afternoon that they came out onto the high road, their first high road, a long white ribbon of a road running straight away into the distance, shimmering a little in the heat. And it was there that something happened, something that would change everything for Toad. They were strolling along easily, the mole walking by the horse's head, talking to him, since the horse had complained that he was being left out of things. The Toad and the water rat walking behind the cart. Toad talking, as usual. The rat saying at intervals, "Yes, precisely. And what did you say to him?" And thinking all the while of his own quiet river. When far behind them, they heard a faint warning hum, like the drone of a distant bee. Glancing back, they saw a small cloud of dust coming along the road towards them, moving quickly, with a faint poop-poop drifting ahead of it, like a strange bird's call. They hardly regarded it at first, but in a moment, with a rush of wind and a whirl of sound, it was upon them and past them. A magnificent motor car, immense and gleaming, its driver bent over his wheel. It possessed all earth and air for a single second, flung up a soft, enveloping cloud of dust that wrapped them round completely. And then it was gone, dwindling away down the long white road, smaller and smaller, until it was only a droning bee once more. And then not even that. The old gray horse, who had been dreaming as he plodded along of his quiet paddock, was thoroughly startled by this new sort of thing, and despite all the mole's soothing words, he backed and swerved, and pushed the cart slowly backwards towards the ditch at the side of the road. It wavered a moment, then tilted, and the canary-colored cart, their pride and their joy, settled gently onto its side in the soft grass of the ditch, and lay still, an unmistakable wreck. The rat was quite cross, and said so, hopping up and down in the road and speaking his mind about road hogs at some length. The mole busied himself calming the horse, stroking his long nose and speaking softly to him until the old fellow sighed and lowered his head and was himself again. Then the mole went to look at the cart. It was a sorry sight indeed. Panels and windows broken, one wheel off, sardine tins scattered far and wide, and the little bird in the birdcage calling plaintively to be let out, which the mole saw to at once. But Toad had not moved at all. He was sitting in the middle of the dusty road, his legs stretched out before him, staring down the road where the motor car had gone. His face wore a placid, satisfied expression, and every so often he murmured, faintly and dreamily, "Poop, poop." "Are you coming to help us, Toad?" the rat demanded. "Glorious, stirring sight," murmured Toad, never offering to move. "The poetry of motion, the real way to travel, the only way to travel. Here today, in next week tomorrow. Villages skipped, towns and cities jumped, always somebody else's horizon. Oh, bliss. Oh, poop, poop. Oh, my. Oh, my." "Oh, stop being an ass, Toad," cried the mole, though not unkindly. "And to think I never knew," Toad went on in a dreamy monotone. "All those wasted years that lie behind me. I never knew, never even dreamt. But now that I know, what a flowery track lies spread before me." "What are we to do with him?" the mole asked quietly. "Nothing at all," replied the rat, who knew his friend of old. "Because there is really nothing to be done. He is now possessed. He has got a new craze, and in its first stage it always takes him this way. He'll be like an animal walking in a happy dream for days. Never mind him. Let's go and see what can be done about the cart." A careful inspection showed them that the cart would travel no further that day, or any day soon. So the rat knotted the horse's reins over his back and took him by the head, carrying the bird cage and its now much calmer occupant in his other hand. "Come on," he said to the mole. "It's 5 or 6 miles to the nearest town, and we shall just have to walk it. The sooner we start, the better." And so they walked, the horse clopping slowly along between them, the afternoon mellowing around them. They had not gone very far when there came a pattering of feet behind them, and Toad caught them up and thrust a paw inside the elbow of each of them, still breathing softly, still gazing at nothing in particular, still every now and again whispering "poop, poop" to himself, like a small private prayer. The rat gave him a good talking to as they walked, about police stations and complaints and wheelwrights and putting things to rights. But it all drifted past Toad like the road dust and settled somewhere behind them. And after a while, the rat gave it up and snorted and addressed his remarks exclusively to the mole for the rest of that long, slow, not unpleasant trudge, while the hedgerows on either side filled up with evening shadow, and the first star came out, pale and patient, over the fields. On reaching the town, they went to the station and settled Toad safely in the waiting room, with a porter to keep a kindly eye on him. They left the horse at an inn stable, warm and fed, with straw up to his knees, and they gave what directions they could about the cart and its contents, so that everything would be gathered up and looked after. And eventually a slow train, a very slow train, came sighing into the station and carried them gently homeward through the dusk. The carriage rocked softly from side to side. The fields slid past the window, growing dimmer and bluer. Lamps came on in distant farmhouse windows, one by one, and Toad slept in his corner, smiling at something only he could see. The train set them down at a station not very far from Toad Hall. They escorted the sleepwalking Toad to his door, put him inside it, and told his housekeeper to feed him and undress him and put him to bed, which she did, being well used to this sort of thing. Then in the deep blue quiet of the late evening, the rat and the mole got out their boat from the boathouse and sculled slowly down the river for home. The water was black and silver under the moon. The oars made the softest of sounds, dip and drift, dip and drift. An owl called once from the woods and was answered from farther away. The reeds whispered along the banks as they passed, and the smell of the river rose up around them, cool and green and familiar, the smell of home. And at a very late hour, they sat down to a small supper in their own cozy riverside parlor. To the rat's great joy and contentment, the lamp burned low. The river murmured just outside the window, going by and going by and going by all night long, as it always had and always would. The following evening, the mole, who had risen late and taken things very easy all day, was sitting on the bank, fishing. Not so much to catch fish, you understand, as to have a reason to sit still by the water, when the rat came strolling along to find him. "Heard the news," said the rat. "There's nothing else being talked about all along the riverbank. Toad went up to town by an early train this morning, and he has ordered a large and very expensive motor car." And the mole smiled and shook his head slowly and went back to watching his float rest on the quiet water. Whatever was to come of that, it would come in its own time, and it would be a story for another night. For now the river went by. The sun sank low behind the willows. The water turned to gold, and then to gray, and then to deep, deep blue. The ducks came home along the backwater, one after another, and tucked their heads beneath their wings. The wood pigeon murmured its last soft phrase, and the first stars came out over the riverbank, small and clear. Somewhere out on a distant common, a canary-colored cart lay resting in the sweet grass of a ditch, its adventures over, its little kettles still. Somewhere in a warm stable, an old gray horse dozed, knee-deep in straw, dreaming of his paddock. And in a hole in the riverbank, in a small, snug parlor, two tired and happy animals sat in lamplight, saying nothing much and meaning it kindly. And you, my friend, you have walked a long road today too, in your own way. And now it has brought you here, to the quiet at the end of it. You can put the day down now. You don't need to carry it anymore. Let it lie in the soft grass by the side of the road, like a cart that has finished its journey. Feel how heavy and warm you are, how still the room is around you. The night is wide and calm and kind. The river goes by in the dark, unhurried. The reeds are whispering. The moon is keeping watch over the common, and the water, and the road, and over you. There is nowhere to go now. There is nothing to do, only rest. Only this, slow, quiet, breathing. Sleep now, dear friend, sleep now. Let the river carry the day away and drift gently into your own soft dreams. Good night. Sleep well. Sleep now.